Here I go, up, up, above the elder trees, to my bird's eye view. Leaves flying everywhere, red leaves full of passion and anger and sadness. Time to light the fires, the years turning and the woods stirring. Time to unravel the vine back through time. Elder, the ancient homeless woman, shook a branch and a shower of leaves rained down. She laughed and threw her arms around wildly as if stirring up a storm. Aisha placed her key in the lock. "Sure you can't come back to mine? Mum's cooking," Mona asked as she leaned on the garden wall. "Not today. Liliana wants me home. She says there's something she has to talk to me about." The girl switched to speaking in Somali, chatted for a while, and parted with a giggle. Liliana winced as the door clicked closed. "Hi," Aisha called to her breezily, and walked straight through to her bedroom. "Hi, love." Liliana sat at the kitchen table, surrounded by sketching pencils, paper, scissors, glue, and a collection of half-drunk cups of coffee. Her hands shook slightly as she smoothed another photo into her foster daughter's scrapbook. "Be rational. Be calm. It's only a first meeting," Liliana comforted herself, but there was nothing rational about the way she felt for Aisha. She set aside the glue and began drawing a detailed pattern of musical notes around the border of the page, stalling again. Perhaps she should have let Aisha's social worker give her this news. Liliana imagined that she was standing with Aisha on a seafront on a cloudless day. Aisha and everyone around looked happy and settled, while she, alone, gaped in horror as a giant wave threatened to engulf them. It's natural to feel like this, Liliana consoled herself, for she had been bonded to Aisha since the very first day when the little girl, with the saddest eyes in the world, had tiptoed through her front door, peering in as if she feared that the flat might explode at any moment. Liliana clasped her hands together to still them. "Aisha, come and see. I've added some new photos of you and Mona with your band." "What band?" Aisha laughed, stepping into the kitchen and peering over Liliana's shoulder. "Singing together once at school doesn't exactly make us into a group." "Well, you should be. You were by far the best." "You would say that." "Because it's true." Liliana shrugged and smiled to herself as she turned the pages of Aisha's life story book. Liliana had taken to calling it a storybook and sometimes a scrapbook because somehow these names seemed less daunting. Every child she had cared for had one. It was a personal history in words and pictures made so that they and future carers could chart their life's journey, record progress, and give the children a joined-up sense of their own history. Some foster carers she knew didn't bother too much with them, but Liliana always felt that making sure these little details were filled in was the very least that she could do for the children she welcomed into her home. Aisha's earliest drawings in the book were from the time when she had refused to speak. There was one of Aisha as a baby, curled up in a fetal position inside a giant image of her mother. That always choked Liliana up the most. When she had first seen it, she'd cried.